Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. And the first update of the day, this is Hassan Mostafa, and one day out from the Orlando Pro posted up by his coach AJ Sims. Hassan is displaying a crazy amount of vascularity, even more than Vlad Sukaruko had going into the Portugal Pro. These are probably the most vascular quads I've ever seen in my life, in all honesty. And last year, Hassan did about 6 or 7 shows, was never really able to nail the conditioning. He was working with Chris Aceto, switched over to AJ Sims, and it seems like they found the formula and won 2 pro shows. Hassan placed 13th at last year's Mr. Olympia, and I'm sure this year he wants to improve on that. And Hassan was nowhere near his best at last year's Olympia. Granted, this is a more competitive lineup, but where do you guys think Hassan will place at this year's Olympia? And in the next update of the day, this was posted up by Marc Hector a couple of days ago, and this guy looks absolutely incredible going into this Arnold Classic UK, and he could possibly shake some things up. This picture is very reminiscent of a Brandon Curry with just the roundness, the 3D look, the tiny waist. And Mark has added so much size to his upper body in the past offseason. I think he's going to have to bring up the legs a little bit to be proportionate. But I don't think the legs are small by any means, but the upper body is just so overpowering. But hey, I mean, Brandon Curry is able to get away with the roundness and smaller legs, so we never know. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Justin Rodriguez, who will be competing before this year is over. Once again, I believe the only show in the U.S. is the Legion Sports Fest in Las Vegas, so if I had to guess, I would think that was the show that he was aiming to compete in. We have the Arnold UK, Romania, and Prague, but those are all over in Europe, and I'm pretty sure Justin probably wants to stay over here for a show. But he looks incredible, and since working with George Farah, seems like he's revived his physique. He was looking very tired at the New York Pro and the Indy Pro, but Justin is looking refreshed. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Quinton Eriya, who is taking advantage of the rebound. As I mentioned in my last video, Quinton was up 20 pounds only a couple days after the show, and he says he really wants to take advantage of, the extra food to really push the weight. This guy looks skin bursting full, and after a show, all of these guys always look a little bit better just because of the skin bursting pumps post competition. But Quinton did say he will be shutting it down, focused on putting more size on, and he definitely says he wants to take his time, to keep the lines and keep the shape. So we may not see him in 2023 and maybe 2024. But Quinton promised that next time we see him on stage, he's definitely going to make a big improvement. And Quinton has one of the best mindsets in bodybuilding currently, which is important. And in the next update of the day, these are the latest updates from our last NPC Nationals champion, Carlos Thomas. Now, Nick Strength and Power did confirm that Carlos Thomas will be doing the New York Pro in 2023, but he also said that he will be competing in 212. I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate because I believe Carlos turned pro at about 216. And he's probably 260 to 270 right now. As we all know, Carlos looks incredible from the front and from the side, but he has to bring the back up a lot. So him sucking down to make 212 honestly makes no sense to me, but I'll wait on that. I can't 100% confirm. But this guy does look incredible, has some of the best arms probably in the IFBB already. But I just wanted to update you guys on Carlos Thomas, and he will be competing at the New York Pro in 2023. And if you guys have been wondering where Patrick Moore has been, he actually ruptured his Achilles. Now, Nick Trigilli over on Bodybuilding and BS actually reported this a couple months ago, and Patrick was denying it. But I can understand with this being such a serious injury why Patrick didn't want to talk about it and wanted to talk about it on his own time. But it's incredible how quickly he has recovered from this injury, and Patrick is already back to training. I seen him squatting like, maybe 6 to 7 plates on a hack squat machine. But I'm excited to see this guy hop on the stage, and Lee Haney has personally said that Patrick Moore is bodybuilding. Patrick Moore is one of his personal favorite physiques in the sport, and that's coming from an 8-time Mr. Olympia. And switching over to Keone Pearson, these are prep files from the Tampa Pro, and I feel like Keone was a bit overshadowed by the controversy between Kamal and Akeem, and then Andrew Jack pretty much taking over the next week. But as I've said numerous times, Keone Pearson, I don't even believe he was 212. He was probably 210 at this show, I believe he said. But this guy looks absolutely massive next to all of these guys. And Keone didn't look 100% on the live stream, but when I'm looking at these pictures that he posted, and this was either the day of the show or the day before, Keone looks absolutely peeled. And going into this year's Mr. Olympia, he's definitely going to be a threat. Keone did beat 5th place Nathan Epler and 8th place at last year's 212 Olympia, Kareth Baggio, so he's definitely proven himself that he can stand with the top guys in the 212 after placing about 14th last year. But I'm excited to see Keone hop on this stage in December, and hopefully he brings an even better package. Now switching over to Derek Lunsford, who posted these 2 photos up recently, and he did hashtag 212 Mr. Olympia. Now I don't think that's confirming he's going to do 212, But at this point, as I mentioned, we only have one show left in the United States. I'm pretty sure that Derek and Honey have already decided on doing the 212 Olympia. There's no inside information, it's just my personal opinion. And Honey is a pretty smart coach. We're about 16 or 17 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia, so I'm pretty sure they already know which direction they want to go in. And if I had to bet, I would say it's going to be 212. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Lucas Coelho. I believe he placed 10th at last year's 212 Olympia. This guy suffered a bicep injury earlier in the year after winning the Sao Paulo 212 Pro. He was actually going to go into the Open and compete at the Expo Pro Super Show, but decided to go ahead and have the bicep surgery and continue to prep for the Mr. Olympia once recovered. But this guy looks incredible, and even though we have a lot of guys moving up, to Open, 212 is still full of a lot of great athletes like Lucas, and also the next guy who we're going to talk about, who is Ahmed El-Sadani. Now, this guy looks incredible going into Tampa and Texas 212. I had him in my top 3, maybe even top 4. I believe that he put on so much size in the upper body, the legs are looking a bit small in comparison. At Tampa, he was a bit off in conditioning, and in Texas, it was just a very competitive lineup. Also, I believe he loses a bit of ground from behind. I believe he could bring the lats up a little bit. And also, with the upper body being overpowered, the legs look a bit small from behind. Taking nothing away from him at all, just giving my honest analysis, but I love this guy's physique. And switching over to Classic Physique, these are the latest updates from Michael Daboul. At about 5 weeks out from the Arnold Classic, Michael is being pearled by Patrick Tuor. I'm not sure who else is doing the Arnold Classic in the Classic Physique division, but they definitely have to watch out for this guy. 5 weeks out and he's in better condition than a lot of guys ever bring to a bodybuilding stage. Definitely has made improvements, put on size. Legs have came up even from behind. Only thing he's still missing is a little bit more back density to be competitive with the top guys. But this guy is massive, has incredible shape, and comes in condition. And in the next update of the day, this is the latest from Elliott Dermond at 14 weeks out of the NPC Nationals. This guy is probably going to turn pro this year. Freaky physique, man. I used to always see him around Instagram, did not know who he was, but now I know. And he's only 24 years old, guys, so I will be updating you guys on his journey. It may be similar hype to Carlos Thomas Jr. These guys actually have very similar physiques. Would be interesting to see them side by side. But hopefully he's able to get his pro card at this year's NPC Nationals. And ending this video here in my archive of the day, the guy in the back is pretty easy to guess, but let's see if you guys know the guy in the front. A very underrated bodybuilder, and I really like his physique. As always, I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm Krishan from Go Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.